know that there are many civil society that actually provide a training like a money counseling, and they normally come in when we have disasters to provide counseling, and they're training quite a number of people. Under NGAF, we found somebody from the Langata prisons who said that, I deal with so many prisoners, I'd like to be sponsored for a full scholarship to go and actually do counseling so I can be better equipped to help most of the prisoners I'm dealing with, and we are happy that we actually sponsored her. And I think the government should actually be looking at some of the facilities in prison and making sure that we train as many people who are dealing with prisoners, as many people who are in medical facilities, and also educational facilities. Now, I want to talk from a point of experience, being somebody who actually suffers from many, many mental conditions. I'm not ashamed to say that I actually, when I was young, undiagnosed, I actually came to realize when I was much older as a parent that I was dyslexic. I had no idea I was dyslexic. It was when my children were diagnosed as dyslexic, and then I started realizing that I actually had the same habits. I used to do the same thing. First of all, my handwriting is disastrous. I can't even read it, And I didn't realize that my handwriting, even though my teacher used to beat me so many times on my knuckles because she used to tell me how to put a capital letter at the beginning of a sentence, how to put a full stop, how to, put the punctuations, I used to miss the conjugations like it, as, because I would write, my mind would go so fast. Now, dyslexia is a gift. Richard Branson came out openly and said, I'm dyslexic, and this is why I'm able to do what I'm doing. So besides being dyslexic, in fact, I think one of the things that you really suffer from when you're dyslexic is maths. Because if somebody tells you to write 1986, you will write 1968 because you take the last number first. So a lot of parents are not aware, and sometimes you will punish your child, but it's not the child who's making that mistake. So we need our teachers to actually understand that these are mental conditions where the child cannot help it. The child is not stupid. The child is not being disobedient. The child is just not able to comprehend, and this is dyslexia. Then there is something else called ADHD. I mean, my father used to think I was so naughty. I could not listen. I could not sit still. He tells me, sit down. I was fidgeting. I was standing up. I was running around. Go to the corner. I couldn't even stay at the corner. Because when you have ADHD, it's attention deficit hyperactive disorder. You just have so much energy, and people want to sleep at midnight, and you still have the energy to go on and on and on. I used to say it's like ever ready, you just go on and on and on. So at the end of the day, with ADHD, you need drugs like Concerta, or you need Ritalin, which are very, very expensive, so that you can calm you down and you can sit in a class. Because when you're in a class, other children want to concentrate, but you're going to actually be distracting them. In fact, I was made a monitor of the class and a class prefect because the teacher wanted to make sure that I don't distract other children. But nobody knew at that time in the school that I went, which was the Star of the Sea Primary School, that I actually had a disorder, a learning disorder. And as I grew up, I went to Dr. Okonji. We all have issues that we need to see a psychiatrist, and we shouldn't be ashamed of it. So marriages normally, can be difficult to deal with. And when I started seeing Dr. Okonji, I didn't realize that I was actually suffering from OCD, which was obsessive compulsive disorder. So the reason why I'm taking you through this is because I want all the constituents that we represent to realize that these are labels, and they are genuine labels, and we might have them, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, I didn't even know. Dr. Okonji knew I was dyslexic, ADHD, and he didn't want to give me a label. So what happened is I was in his clinic, and I used to see his tiles were actually so disorderly. And one day I said to him, Dr. Okonji, I'd like to give you a Christmas present. Can I do your tiles for you? And he said, yes, go ahead, fix my tiles. And I had the tilers come in, fix his tiles. One day my daughter went to see him. And when my daughter went to see him, she says, I can't stand my mom. She comes into my room. She picks everything up. She arranges everything. Why can't she just understand I'm a teenager? Dropping my clothes on the floor is kind of normal. And then Dr. Okonji tells her, you know what, your mother suffers from OCD. So she wants everything orderly. So my daughter comes home after reading about it and says, oh, Mom, I'm so sorry. I'll start tidying up. I understand where you're coming from. I called Dr. Okonjo and said, why didn't you tell me I was OCD? And he goes, because you were already dealing with ADHD and dyslexia. Later on, after post-election violences and everything that I had to see and witness and all the bloodshed, I remember coming here one day and talking to Millie Odhiambo and saying, Millie, can you explain to me why am I not able to cry? Why am I feeling so sad and not able to have tears? And she goes, Esther, after all the post-election violence, you need to have something called debriefing. You need to see a counselor. And it's when I realized that I had post-traumatic stress disorder. So why am I talking about all these ailments? All right. And then one of the things that I think Kenyan women suffer from, and a lot of single mothers are suffering from depression because they have to deal with the baby. They have to deal with, not having somebody to help them out when it, feeling that, you've delivered your baby, you've got postnatal depression, and you don't understand. Why do you feel that you can't handle this baby? Do you not love this baby? So